Good morning. It is day 25 of Marcus and Me in book 4. And let's go read what he has to say today on this rainy Saturday morning in West Virginia. The rain is falling and my porch is full of cats wanting to hide out from the rain. Little sister's toughening up this other little gray kitten. And when the porch gets cramped, cats get feisty. Today's meditation from Marcus Aurelius begins, and then you might see what the life of the good man is like. Someone content with what nature assigns him, and satisfied with being just and kind himself. That's it. It's a short one today. Day 25 with Marcus. And amazingly enough, this kind of ties in with today's Catholic Word Among Us reading. So go to God and Me. I'm going to read that next, if you're not already at God and Me. Well, this morning, Mother Nature has assigned us with a rainy Saturday, which is probably putting a damper on a lot of local events. This reading has me kind of thinking about just and kindness at the end. Being content with being just and kind. And being just doesn't always mean that your words can be kind. Unfortunately. If you look at that scene in Gladiator with Russell Crowe, I mean, his words to the little prince boy weren't very kind. They were just. So, being kind is kind of subjective. And you can have a kind and loving heart, and, you know, if you don't stand up for yourself and hold the line, well, people will walk all over you. Something I've had to learn in life. So, being just and kind. And listening to the rain falling today. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but there was supposed to be like an art event locally and probably a host of other events. And I was thinking about the nature of how you plan for this event months and maybe a year ahead of time, and you can't really determine the weather. So, you know, you got to be content with what nature assigns you. I've certainly sat out in a lot of art festivals in the rain. Funny story, raining at Disney World, my son was crying. He was young. I was like, you're in the happiest place on earth and crying because of rain. And then I think about the wind and how I used to complain because I'd be trying to train young horses and they don't really like the rain. I mean, the wind. They might not like the rain either, but my mom used to say, you can't control the weather. Of course, we know there are people that are trying to control our weather. So anyway, you have to be content with what nature assigned you. And certainly, feeling that sun yesterday between thunderstorms, that sun was hot, so maybe we should be thankful that it's cloudy and rainy today, because maybe it's protecting us from being burnt up by the sun and its intense rays right now, because there's definitely some solar stuff going on. So on this Saturday, go be content with whatever weather you have, whatever Mother Nature or nature assigned you, and try to be just and kind and hold that line, because people will walk all over you. Marguerite, you're gonna have some muddy feet. It's time to walk the dog. In Japan, they started the custom of removing your shoes when you came in their house. And I believe there's other cultures that did it too, but my family, my mom and dad, were very much take your shoes off at the door. And if you live on a farm, you definitely want to take your shoes off at the door, if not on the porch. Although sometimes I fall short if I'm doing something that's quick. But it brings us to the muddy shoes theory and talking about, justice, just and kindness. Our body is our temple. And yes, I do smoke. But I have given up alcohol for the most part. Have an occasional glass of wine. But, we kind of live in a system that has not very good food supplies. And alcohol is everywhere. And cigarettes and vaping. It's just part of our culture. But your body is the temple. And you should try to take care of it. But there are health nuts that have taken care of their temple and still died. So, you can't sit around and worry about that all day either. But back to our body being a temple. There are people who have very muddy feet, very muddy souls. And we have to be careful who we allow in our temple. Because, they use that term toxic people. You listen to a lot of talks. This is so cool. I was just standing here and all of these butterflies came flying up. But you listen to a lot of talks and they talk about toxic people. And, their negativity can really bring you down and infect your temple. So, you have to be careful who you allow in. And that is just the nature of humanity. Look at time. Go examine time. And human nature hasn't really changed. You just have to become wiser to it. And create good boundaries and not feel bad about it. Because as Christians, we're taught to love, 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 love. And we've been given disciples as martyrs and saints. But really, it doesn't serve you in having a productive and happy life. Unless that's your calling, which, I think that's why Jesus came. Sacrificed himself so that we're not going to be burnt on the stake for our mistakes forever. Because of allowing muddy feet people in our lives when we didn't know any better. We're down here just trying to learn. So, anyway, just a little thought on Marcus, a further thought. Now here enjoying the nature of today, which is it's very cloudy. And so I've heard that it's not only wild smoke, there's Saharan dust storms or something again. Are we like in wash, rinse, and repeat down here? It really seems like this all happened like in 2020 or something. I don't know. I feel like some days I'm in wash, rinse, and repeat down here when I hear something on the radio. What? Saharan dust storms again? Anyway, it has cooled things down. And although it's kind of humid, it's not unbearably humid like the other day. Oh, that was unbearably humid and hot. There's something about dry heat. When I was out in Montana many years ago, that dry heat, you don't even realize it's like 110. But humid heat, oh yeah, you feel it. 70 something. So the creek is really gushing. Let me show you all the creek. The nature of life down here. Right, Wyatt? Wyatt says we're going on our longer walk today. He's happy. Look at that. When you see a creek running like that, that was basically dry and barren last year, how can you not be glad and grateful for the rains, no matter what plans you had, because we certainly need this rain. So praise the Lord for His living water. Gosh, water is just so precious, and I've learned how precious it is, and I keep learning, relearning. God keeps reminding me. Losing water in my house a couple weeks ago, and moving out to this 5 acres without water, and my horses. That was a trip. So I've definitely learned the pricelessness of water, which is one of our basic necessities in life. Bare necessities, simple bare necessities. Forget about the worry and the strife. Those were some good Disney movies, the older ones. Jungle Book back in the day. So that's it for this talk. Welcome to the jungle, people. Have a great, happy Saturday. Whatever you decide to do, I hope it brings you joy and that you extend kindness to others, as Marcus and our reading from the Catholic Word Among Us suggested. Out here walking the narrow and grassy path on this Saturday in June.